Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to talk Cyberpunk. Yes, more information regarding Cyberpunk has come out, and this is interesting information for somebody that played Deus Ex. Yeah, okay, granted, I kind of deserve that. I do tend to mention that every 2 seconds. So, to see why this has any relevance to Deus Ex, and why I keep repeating it, we're going to look at the pacifist way of doing things. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, that's the way I always play Deus Ex. You get a huge amount of XP. I love doing the whole crawling through vents, sneaking past areas. That's always the style I've liked. I like hacking into things. And, you know, if things do go awry, then generally the whole security network is set up that one guy spots me and opens fire, everything's going to just, you know, all the miniguns are going to open up in my defense. That's the way I like to play it. That's probably the way I will play Cyberpunk. But we're going to read this article now from Kotaku UK. Don't look at me like that as if you've never read a Kotaku article. You're no better than me. Anyway, let's crack on with this. So, as an RPG, Cyberpunk 2077 is very much about presenting players with choice, whether it is how you build your character skills or how their actions will affect the story. At the same time, it is also a first-person shooter, so you and I could be firing a few weapons every now and again. Will you really be able to lay down arms and get through the game as a pacifist? It's telling that the presentation I saw, and this is obviously the writer of said article saying this, because I didn't see any presentation apart from the one they showed us, the mere public mortals. While showing a couple of variations on how you can go about the same mission, nevertheless always involves you getting bloody in some way. It should first of all be said that a press demo is a press demo. Now, I believe the press demo they're referring to is the same one we did eventually get to see when they live streamed on the last Friday or a couple of Fridays ago, which was the one where they showed the sort of pacifist way of getting through the shopping mall and the full-on go through ripping cannons out the wall and shooting everybody. I think it's the same one. I don't know if there was any more. I haven't heard any rumours going around that there was more of a press one than we got to eventually see. I think they just get to see it early. Not least because the gaming audience's tolerance to ultraviolence is so high. So when I had the chance to sit down as Cyberpunk 2077 producer, I wanted to know whether there were generally other ways to play without being, for want of a better word, boring. One, that's a ridiculous thing to say. If you have played in any way, shape or form Deus Ex or any of those sneaky, thiefy-esque style games, the playstyle is not boring. So that straight away is a huge red flag to me. And reminds me why I don't read Kotaku. Breathe. Okay. There are different ways for the players to try to finish a mission non-lethally. We don't have boring path. Thank you for saying that. I didn't even need to rage. God, I love CDProjekt Red. Fair play to you guys. I knew it wasn't quite the right word. Then why'd you say it? Don't do it. But having just seen an enemy dispatched through the hacking of their weightlifting machine, a uniquely gory take on the "Do you even lift, bro?" meme. It would take an especially puritanical player to forego such delights in favour of working everything out like adults. Style over substance is a motto from the original Cyberpunk pen and paper RPG, and style goes beyond appearance. They're a reference for how playstyles can be customised. Now, I would actually say I like that. I like the fact it was put in the game. I like the fact you can hack the weights. The world is meant to be mechanical. There was also, if I remember correctly, you could hack the boxing droid the guy was practicing against and take off its lethal safeguards, and it would just kill people. It just punched the guy in the head, killed him. I like that you're able to do that. It makes hacking, gives it a nuanced twist. It's not just, oh, you can switch off security cameras and things like that. I like it that you can do those things on the fly. But anyway, I digress. Let's carry on. This is supposed to be a cool game. So you can do cool things with shooter mechanics. This is the producer speaking. So for example, As you're developing your character skills, the animations that you have while reloading your gun will change. Now that is awesome news. At the beginning, you're pretty clunky because you're a new mercenary on the streets, but over time, you'll look more professional, slicker. Your progress will affect your reloading speed, precision, recoil, many other things. So, what we're talking about is when you first of all start out, you're literally Paul Blart Mall Cop. You haven't got Scooby-Doo what you do. Alright. But by the end of it, if you've upgraded these particular skills, you're like John Wick. You've got one magazine to go. You're clicking out, dropping the magazine, slamming in the next one, and you're just carrying on. You've got magazines up your sleeves. You've got all sorts of tricks and ways of going about it. If you've ever seen Equilibrium, where he puts the magazine on the floor, like kicks it halfway up the room, and then by the time he's killed everybody, he literally just kneels down and slides the magazine in his gun and just walks on because he's planned everything with such precision. That's what you're going to be like at the end. That's really good. That level of detail is fantastic, and I love the fact that obviously the various other mechanics, the various other ways to do things in the game are going to be the same. So I would hope when you start out and you might be punching somebody, then you're just a basic brawler that doesn't really know what the hell they're doing. But if you really get that, your melee, your body abilities up, then you're going to be like, Bruce Lee by the end of it, just one-punching people because you're so tough. Oh, I'm getting distracted by this one. Apologies, this could be a long video. But what if you don't want to be a trigger-happy cyberpunk? You're probably in the wrong game, but let's carry on. How can the game make it just as satisfying to stealth around situations or talk your way out of trouble? Now, we have already seen, with regards to that, the 48-minute gameplay trailer, whereby you basically have to try and talk your way out of probably getting killed by the corpo if you really mess that up, if you tried to pull your gun. But you can talk way around, and there's a whole new way of dealing with the guys that have got the robot you have to take. So it is in there, we know that. But we should carry on. It is a complex answer. It's a complex answer. You might be able to sneak your way around and get past certain scenarios, but if you do get noticed after some point and still don't want to kill anybody because you're playing a character that just by definition doesn't kill a lot of people, then you can leave them on the ground so you're still alive, but they're willing enough not to interfere with you. Yeah, but that doesn't really... You kind of said that... Okay, didn't make a lot of sense. But I get that. I mean, that is the Deus Ex ways. You can knock people out, leave them on the floor, they're not going to hurt you. But when the bullets start flying, there's no... I can't imagine there's a way that you could say hide and eventually they will all calm down again. I can't see that being in the game like it is in, say, Deus Ex or any others, which is whereby just run and hide, sneak into the vents or whatever, and eventually the alarms and everything will, switch off and they'll all reset. Now, it may be that you could hack, if you've got good hacking skill, because you're sneaky, you can hack the security system and just say, false alarm, everybody over the town has a false alarm, everybody don't worry about it. Or if you're an engineer, you can hack the alarm system and, keep sending it off intermittently and the guys end up just ignoring it. So there might be ways around that. But we'll carry on. So the Batman solution, which is basically knocking people out and leaving them there. So basically, you might be able to get through the whole game without killing anyone, but being non-lethal is a very far away from being non-violent. I don't know what you want, Kotaku. You're playing a game set in a dystopian future as a mercenary, and I honestly don't think if you're going to be a dystopian mercenary or dystopian future mercenary, I don't think you should have a non-violent attitude. I think maybe you should pick a different career. I think Misty, who works at the doctor's office and as the receptionist, maybe you should just roleplay as her. I don't know. I'm just thinking. So this is one of the big issues players had in Deus Ex Human Revolution, which allowed players to completely spec into stealth, then throw up a forced boss encounter that relied on combat mechanics. It was never an issue. You could easily do that, even on the hardest difficulties. I did it multiple times. The game still catered for you to be able to do that, even if you hadn't spent any points. You just generally had grenade launchers or shotguns or something. You could take them down if need be. It may mean you defeated a boss by pumping them with lead, but are still able to spare them by not delivering the final shot. Trying to do the game as a pacifist hacker, however, sounds pretty much impossible. in terms of Cyberpunk. Obviously, in Deus Ex, it's very much possible. So, they were very candid about it and said, you probably wouldn't finish the campaign if you try and play as a pacifist. Simple as that. It's just not the world. The worlds are too different. But let's carry on. I'm more curious about that than bothered by this aspect of Cyberpunk. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. That's fair. Looking for non-combat outcomes in everything this world can throw up would rub against the subterranean menace of the setting, and in some sense, it's contrivance itself. It is. If you're so going against the essence of the game, then it's just, what's the point? So I like the idea of maybe trying it, maybe being super stealthy, but I'm also not going to have an issue if I need to pull my gun, which is, as I said before, how I intend to play this game. So, Cyberpunk is a violent universe, yes. We didn't really shy away from that. The main quest can branch into many paths, and choices are connected. The thing we've done in The Witcher, which you want to do in Cyberpunk 2077, is that when we are presenting choices to the player, we want them to be meaningful choices. And a meaningful choice is a choice that has cause and effects. Oh my God, I wish so many developers nowadays would read this and understand it. It is the fundamental basic of just everything in terms of gameplay. Cause and effect. I do something, I get an equal reward. If I don't do it, I don't get the reward. Oh, World of Warcraft, pay attention to this. So, in other words, avoiding a violent confrontation results in skipping a fight, which means you're missing out on that content. On the flip side, by sparing a character, you've probably gone and pissed off another group who'll be hostile about it when you meet. But, by sparing that character, they also come back to you and say, hey, I was going to kill you when you came into our place and were trying to kill everybody, but I went and looked more into it from what you said, and yeah, you were right. Here's this bit of equipment, here's my lockup, here's an access code, here's something else. Good luck to you. I'm going to go about my way and about my business. You know, hopefully we don't meet again or I'll kill you. You know, that kind of thing. So it opens up both ways. It all depends whether the developers have really thought about this potential pacifist storyline. And by what they're saying, I don't think the pacifist outcome would be as fleshed out. So, therefore, again, I've said this over and over again. I think what they're looking for by stealth is potentially you can sneak into a facility, bypassing the main security, take out a few guys along your way, and eventually, you know, you'll have the security system hacked, you'll have their network completely at your disposal, so you're able to fast hack people, you'll have sentry guns operating on your side, so when it eventually does go down, like it's going to, this is Cyberpunk, that's how it's going to end, then you've got all of these tricks and toys on your side because you are not as skilled in the gunplay, so you have alternative things. So for instance, you got a guy who's way better armed, he's got a massive minigun, but you've hacked the security system, fine, I can just quick hack you, lock you being able to use your gun, walk up to you, bang, and that's it. I can take you out, either with my gun or just knock you out because you can't pull the trigger, and I've got Mantis blades. Oh, I'm sure it won't put players off determining to sneak around Night City and find a path that lets no one come to harm. But if you're going to have to bash somebody's head and pick off some murderous gang members, it's also hardly a response that will be a... I forget it. I'm not even going to read through the rest of this. Basically, it's a world that's full of violence and menace. And let's enjoy it. Right, let's just get in and enjoy this game. This article feels like an article that's just... Here's the thing. You can't turn around and say this game has to have a peaceful way because something else did. As I say, I'm a lover of Deus Ex. But in the lore, in the setting, Adam Jensen is a very different character from V. He was a Detroit cop. He was in the SWAT team. Then he went into corporate security. Then he had this horrific thing happen to him and he got augmented. Then he joins TF-21. He is a law-abiding character. So going through stealthing, that makes sense for that character. He's got all these skills, all these abilities, but he morally, he's driven by the law. He's a good person. He's not going to want to kill absolutely everybody. Whereas V in this dystopian future, yeah, it's going to be cool to try to And I will do it just to see, because of that Deus Ex in me. But I don't want them to artificially force something that is against the code of the game. And upon starting to read this article, I was worried that they were going to, and that there was going to be, oh yeah, no, you can do this and this, because it wouldn't have fit the world and the lore. But yet again, CDProjekt Red come out with, well, you can try, and you might be able to do it. There's nothing in the game to stop you from doing it. But potentially every single dice, every single domino, everything in this city is going to be against you if you do that. Because there's going to come a point where you're going to need to pull the trigger. And as a mercenary, that's not an issue for you, because that's the world you live in. But I also love the fact that CDProjekt Red are just saying, you might not be able to finish it. Now, that may be because they don't want to reveal a particular bit of the story where you are going to have to 100% pull the trigger. There is no way around it. But by saying that, they're revealing a bit of the story they don't want to do. But I'm intrigued, and the more, and I say this every time, the more I hear about this game, the more I see about this game, the more positive I get, and especially the attitude of CDProjekt Red and the people, the men and women they've got working there. So yeah, roll on Cyberpunk. I cannot wait.